everybody, and welcome. I'm Matt, Senior Client Success Manager for White House Custom Color. I'm hanging out here in Vick Studios, Vick Photography with Andrew Vick. Thanks for having us.
Matt, my pleasure. As long as we got the coffee going, some bites, I know that you guys will come. So
normally during this process, when we get to the final installation, the next day, the time gets to sink in, the discussion that I have with the owner of the business is usually pertaining to the groupings that went up, the sales practices, how that's going to grow. But with you, we're not going to do any of that today.
Oh, we're not? Okay.
We're not going to do any of that because...
Is this a unique case, Matt?
This is very unique. Yeah, it has been an awesome experience for our team to get to work with your team, with you specifically, and learn how this business really operates with your personality and your emotion and passion for what you do. And that's why we're not really going to touch on that today. We're going to talk to Billy about that stuff.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
She's going to love that.
Yes, exactly. But when I think about, and when I've been thinking about this interview, change. That is the strong word that just keeps popping into my head constantly. And I started out with change is hard, but I went away from that. Change is a challenge. And when you look at the progression of all of this, it's been nothing but a challenge, with highs, with lows, with struggles, with shutdown, with tears, with all the things. And I want to talk about that with you. You know, going back to our very first Zoom call that we did, you know, whenever that was, that started with a reach out through customer service for a redesign. It ended up being nothing like that, you know, eventually, because we started talking about like the core of the business and getting to the root of it. Tell me about that phone call for you, or that Zoom call for you. Like, what is your look back and your emotional response now that we're at this point?
And you and I have covered some of this, but for the audience listening, I think in your own lane, it's hard to find places that you feel safe. And you can be vulnerable and can say, I don't have this figured out. And sometimes you don't even know what you don't have figured out. Yeah. In our wedding community, we're seen as a leader, and I think we've done a really fine job over the years. There have been some amazing accolades, Minnesota Bride Photographer of the Year, many times over. And so you don't know what you don't know. And somehow the portrait world allowed me to have some questions that I felt like it was almost this new discovery and this rediscovery of it. I've always viewed a bit of the risk in my life, like I know what I can handle, and I feel like I wasn't taking all legs of the stool and pushing it into something brand new. We're specifically taking one siloed leg, which is, you know, our family portrait business, and wanting to learn from that. And so we were able to not put our chips all in, but we were able to take all in on one of our legs. So I knew that there was some certainty on the other legs of the stool. Yeah. And in the world of risk, we joke about the surfboard in the back, but a lot of life I've learned from surfing. And ironically, about 30% of surfing is actually surfing. The other 70% is out surveying, researching, looking, watching the waves, watching the sets come. Yeah. And there's a piece of it where I've had to rename some of that anxiety in my life, and I've had to rename that adrenaline. And that if I choose to swim out to the waves to catch the waves coming in, I can handle that. Now, life sometimes throws you that 30% of uncertainty. Yeah. This was a choice. And we've turned, I think, the nerves and the stress into, let's see, like the wind's in our hair, like we're going at it, and it's that's why we say it's been a ride.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're talking about your 30%, and for those of you that are watching this is something that I've learned from Andrew, and I've discussed this several times since you said it the first time, and you've always said in your life, if you're 70% in and 30%, I don't know if scared is the right word.
No, if you have 70% stability, so family, life, like health is all there, things are going well, and you can choose, you get to either choose or life throws you that 30%. If my 50%, if it gets 50-50, like life gets to be overwhelming and it gets hard.
Yeah, for sure. But I love that approach, because a lot of times, you know, when photographers or, you know, just business people in general are looking at change, which you've gone through a ton of change. I mean, the images on the wall and the sales practices are one large piece of it, but there's a lot behind the scenes that you guys have been working on. Like you have to be a little scared of it.
Oh yeah.
It gets you excited.
It's where you live, Matt.
It makes your palms sweat. Like it makes you excited to do that, and I'm sure, going way back when you first started photographing weddings and families, you probably had that palm sweat a lot, all the time, or maybe even still
do.
it.
If I don't have it, it's not right.
Yeah.
We equated even yesterday's install as like a mix of a really big wedding and a little bit of a Christmas. And I'm nervous for both.
Right, which is terrifying if you think of those things right back to back.
Yeah.
And I could tell, I've gotten to know you very well, and I could tell when you got out of that 70-30 when we were talking, and Lucas was actually kidding one day when you were at the lab, and he was walking by a few times, and every time he walked by, you were in a different spot in the meeting room. You were sitting once, you were pacing once, you were leaning on the table once, and it's hard. Those decisions are hard, and you take them very deeply. They're important to you. You want to make the right decision for your family, for the business, for your staff, for all the things,
And I think we get stuck in perfection. I think that's a tribute to, as photographers, even as editors, that the beauty of life is choice. Yeah. And I've had a wise person once told me, like, the beauty is like maybe there's 3 choices in your life that you can't ever get out of. And everything else is the opportunity to make another choice. Whether it be the right choice for the walls, or is this the right edit, or whatever this is, the beauty is moving through it, and moving through it as best you can with the knowledge that you're given. I see it in the wedding planning journey for a lot of our clients too, where they're making the best choice with the limited resources and time that they have. And for me to say, hey, I want the perfect images on the walls, and then you looked at me and said, you're going to shoot even better images next year, and you're going to be sick of these images on here, and we can't wait to replace those with even better work and I was like, whew, I got to exhale and realize this isn't the perfect choice. This is just the next thing, because products change. You're going to have a new frame. There's going to be some new things that you're going to want to feature, and then we're going to work together again on this.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a really great way to look at it. When you're constantly seeking perfection, you're thinking it's going to be, the stuff on the walls forever. Well, that's not the case. You're when you're doing studio design and putting products on the wall, you think about going to the mall. There's spring line, summer line, fall line, winter, and it keeps people coming back. You have to keep that fresh. So that's super important. So when we're talking about, let's just talk a little bit about product here. This was a whole new kind of realm for you, honestly. And I
laugh. I have to laugh because it was. I never thought I wanted to. I just loved my time on the camera so much, right. And I love my interactions with humanity and bringing out people's best. I know that's, and we're probably been 70 to 80% on camera income, and 20% art.
Yeah.
And
I don't even think that much.
I know. Thank you.
So I'm an analogy person, and I use this one with you. Like your brand, the Minnesota Bride, Edina Family Photographer, where your studio sits, outside looking in, and I'm a car guy. Everybody knows that.
We're going there, man. Oh my gosh! That for the world.
For the world. You've got a Mercedes or a Lamborghini dealership on the outside. You pull up, the cars are beautiful. The marketing is beautiful. The online presence is beautiful. The images are beautiful. And then you walk through the door, and there is a used Impala with flat tires in the showroom. And I'm not saying that in an insulting
Remember how
way.
mad I got at you?
You did. You got mad at me a few times.
I get mad at you a lot.
Yeah, you do. You commented on that. But it was this beautiful marketing and brand awareness in this area and beyond. But then you got to a point and it fell. Where now somebody's going to walk into the studio and they're going to look around, and there is absolutely no doubt what you are promoting here and what you are selling. Before there really wasn't anything on the wall. The very first thing that we did is that we looked through old prints that you had bought over the years to just get something up right away. As we're working towards this, and to think back about that day and now looking around, it's like, wow, what a difference.
There's I would say having kids, my boys, has really changed my perspective on the value of imagery up. Either you have this big, beautiful house that you've put all the custom design work in it and beautiful furniture and the right car in the driveway, whatever people are thinking about, but man, they just miss the opportunity to really tell their family story on their walls. And I feel the pain and the pinch in our house, and so no one was there to walk alongside of us to help us make decisions to get things up on the walls. And so that's when it shifted for me in my head of saying, on the hardest of days that we have, they have to storm up to their rooms and look past all the love that they have for us and we have for them. Right. And then that got me thinking, I bet there's other people in my same spot as we're kind of doing this. And so instead of seeing it as like selling, we just see it as fitting people with opportunity to be able to like serving them and saying we can actually become like the interior designers because we care a whole lot. Yeah. And we can help you make those decisions for it. And so I think helping develop a process of decision making has been the biggest takeaway. And we're on the infancy stage of that, but we now have opportunity for people who, you know, they've maybe not even known that they had that need until they see something and say, okay, absolutely. Yeah. And people are putting priorities in their home. And so is your family a priority? We hear all the time, I don't know if I have the wall space. Well, you make priorities. And you show people what your priorities are by what you put up or what you drive or what you have around your house.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's a great lead in to the grouping that I'm looking at behind you, you know, as you're sitting there.
Yeah.
And I know the camera, I know the camera that's on you right now is getting that behind you. And,
man.
And this was the last one to figure out. We had the rest all nailed down. Yeah. And, you know, trying to figure out what to do here. And you sent me some online galleries, and you're like, which one should we do? And I popped this one open, and I'm like, oh, absolutely your family. Like, this is your life, this is your important, this is your priority. You know, you love the business, you love photography, but your boys and your wife, that is you, you know, and to put that on the wall and to show your clients as well as your family and everybody that comes through here when you're doing social events, that is your priority. I love that. You know, when you were asking us before we got on camera today, what's your favorite grouping? Hands down, it's that one because it's you. You know, if you take all the design and everything out of it, like to look at that, like the one of you and Janelle where you're laughing, like that's you. I've seen you do that a million times. You know, so that to me is the quintessential group in here, and that fits you. It represents the business as a whole. You know,
it represents a lot more than the business as a whole, Matt. It's the sacrifice that it takes, and the Saturday soccer games that I just had to leave to go do my wedding work this weekend, or the family shoots I'm being requested to do, and it's always everyone shoots in the afternoon and evening, and it's the hey buddy, we'll see you after the game, or hey, so in a little bit my boys are going to get to come in and see the biggest photos they've ever seen of themselves up in Dad's studio. Yeah. And that's our reminder of, like, when I say it's a family business, there's lots of extensions of the family. You guys have become now a part of that. Billy and Rachel are a part of that. This job is hard, and there's a lot. We give up the best of Minnesota summers and falls to get the opportunity to. And so as soon as my language moves from I have to, as soon as they start saying I have to do this, I'm doing something wrong. And so I work really hard on my why, and I work really hard on being able to use language like I get to, and I get to raise those boys. I get to be married to Janelle. I get to serve my clients for that, but it doesn't come without incredible sacrifice.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that is a really good way to round out this conversation, talking about a lunch. Maybe 6 months ago or so.
You and me?
Well, it was our team with you.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep. Yeah. And we were sitting at lunch, and I can remember talking with our team. And at that point, you know, you were still pushing back pretty hard. You were talking about the legs of the stool earlier, and I can remember one particular conversation. You told me, you're like, well, I'm gonna kind of dip my toe into this and let it prove back to me that it's gonna work before I go all in. And I was like, okay, so traditional discussion here is not going to work. You know, I don't think that necessarily, you know, the financial side of it is the most important to you. You know, serving your clients and doing what you love to do, you know, like that's where I was at. And I can remember at lunch that day, we were talking about what the opportunities are with product and how scalable this is and how there's really no risk because you don't have to buy it until you sell it. You know, all the things like that, the business side of it. And it occurred to me at lunch that day that how I can help you to achieve the things that I can 100% see you doing is family and your time, getting your time back. At one point you were talking about, I need to add a set of minis this Friday. And I was like, whoa. Like, why are we doing that? It was like Tuesday. Like, why, in your position, why would you want to do that and take that away from your family? And through that conversation, I figured you out, and I figured out how to help you to achieve what you want to do so you can get that time back. You don't have to say, hey buddy, I'll see you after the game. It'll be, I'm gonna stay. Dad doesn't have to go.
Yeah.
So like for everybody that's following along and listening, like it's not all about money. It's not all about more sessions, more. It can be about you personally and about your family and getting that time back and owning your life, and not letting the business of photography own you, which I'm proud of you. You did an awesome job.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Time, you can learn a lot about somebody where their time and their money is spent. And I think time is our biggest scarcity of resource. And we look at it, we even have, like in our family, we have a grid that we call kind of our travel grid, where we list off the age of each of our kids and our age as well. and at the ages, we start listing off our travels that we would, at age blank, we want to take them here. At age blank, let's go here. And so it's not like we can't do that this year, it's not yet. And so it allows us to have a bit of vision and saying, wow, we got 9 years left and the next kid's out of the house. But we have a chance to make an impression right now and then send them well. And all that, all the mix, it has to all be in the equation for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you again, and thank you for joining us. We hope that you've really enjoyed the time that you've spent here with Andrew over the last few minutes here. He's a wonderful human being, very talented, great team. Stick with us. We're going to have more exciting things to come from the Vick Studios redesign. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Come say hi to the camera. Look at these boys.
Hi, camera.
All right, you guys ready to see what we've done to the studio? What? What? Ginger, I love it. That's so pretty. Thank you guys. You're so thoughtful. Okay. All right, you want to open the door and see all the new stuff? Okay, let's go.
OMG. That's us.